Hey guys, Mike from Nerd Problems Gaming here, and welcome to Nerd Problems Gaming, the channel where we go through the good and bad of everything nerdy to make sure you spend your time on the best of the best. In today's video, I'll be doing a review of Dead Cells and why I'm so addicted to this game, so stay tuned. So just basically finished up playing Dark Souls Remastered, and I was kind of looking for a breath of fresh air where I wasn't just dying constantly. And ironically enough, I picked up Dead Cells, which you actually die all the time in as well, but it's a little bit different with it. So basically the storyline of this game is you play kind of as this guy, and you're kind of like a blob of slime, failed experiment, whatever you want to call it, and he goes into this body, and basically you're a prisoner in a prison. You're trying to break out and take on the king, who basically, it seems like there's like a plague going on. Maybe there's some shady stuff going on in the background as well. You know, obviously I'll let you play the game to find out a bit more, but I was really attracted to this game to begin with because it's very similar to a Castlevania, Metroidvania type game. And so that really drew me in to that, but I found at the same time, it's really a lot more fast paced compared to like a Castlevania Metroid game. Certainly it's a similar type of play style. You know, you've got the two sub weapons that you can use, you know, the two main weapons that you can use. You get health power-ups, you get ability power-ups as you go. You know, you beat specific bosses and you get different runes that you can power up your character to access new and different areas. And so that's really cool. But it kind of has a little bit of a hint of Dark Souls to it as well, in the sense that you just constantly die in this game. Now, what's cool about it, unlike Dark Souls, where I was super frustrated, angry all the time, kind of had to force myself to beat it almost, with this game, it doesn't necessarily penalize you as much for dying. It's just kind of a part of the game. And so as you progress, you kind of beat different sections, different little areas, and you collect cells, and you can use those to power up your abilities, get better weapons, upgrade your weapons. You'll find different blueprints throughout the game as well that you can unlock, and then you'll use cells to buy those. And so it's a pretty cool method of gameplay. And so even though you're constantly dying, you're also still constantly progressing. Well, that was one thing that I found that kind of annoyed me a lot with Dark Souls, is that I would die constantly, but I would lose all the progress that I made. On top of that, what makes this game also not frustrating is that when you do die and you start a new area, like the areas are the same, but the map is completely different every single time. The layout is different every time. So that keeps it really fresh. And that's what I really like about this game and why it's so addicting, because you're constantly just trying to get a little bit further in the game. And you're still progressing, which is awesome. And then there's also all kinds of different routes that you could go. So you never really know, you know, what area is going to hold what secrets, what weapons you're going to pick up, you know, where you should go. There's different kind of branching paths that you can take throughout the game as well. And so that just constantly keeps it fresh. There's different ways that you can beat the different areas too. You know, there's little extra bonuses if you do it fast. So if you're a speedrunner, you're gonna love this game. It's a lot of fun to go through the different areas, see how fast you can do it. At the same time, there's different options where you can try and kill a certain amount of enemies without getting hit, and that's pretty intense. I've never really been able to do that, so that's cool, but you get extra bonuses when you do that to level up your character more effectively there as well. And so there's just a lot of different playthrough aspects that make it interesting, that keep it fresh. So even though you're constantly dying, it's always different every single time, and that again makes it really fun and then also really addicting. So I kind of find myself, you know, I'll just do one more round, I'll just beat one more level, or I'll die one more time and I'll stop, and then a couple hours later go by and I'm still playing it. So there's a lot of replay value with it as well, because once you beat it the first time, basically you unlock a next harder mode, and that actually allows you to get to harder different areas. There's like certain locked doors throughout the gameplay where you need, you know, so many boss cells basically. So when you beat a boss, you can play it on the next harder difficulty, and then you'll have one cell, so you can open those doors that have one cell at that point. So again, as you beat the next harder difficulty, difficulty, you'll have a couple cells to open new areas. And so it's constantly growing and expanding, which is really cool. I like that aspect of it. And you can play, you know, again, go on the earlier, easier levels to beat it fast, get more points, upgrade your stuff, or try on the harder levels and see how hard you can get, which is, again, really cool and really fun. And there's just a ton of different items, a ton of different weapons. So each playthrough is completely different. You can find different modes that you like, challenge yourself to new different modes, whatever the case might be. You know, on top of it too, there's also really cool boss fights that you have. So throughout the game, there's a couple different major boss fights that you'll have. And so this poses really an extra challenge. And then again, depending on what items you have, what equipment you use, it can create a different experience every single time as well. And so I really found that as you're starting off, you don't really get very far. You kind of die all the time, but you start to learn the patterns, you start to learn the enemies, maybe some basic layouts of levels, because again, they do change all the time, but it gives you a cool way to expand and play through as well. And I also liked it too, because again, it really reminded me of a Castlevania type game where it's a little bit darker. You know, there's monsters, there's zombies, you're hacking and slashing, a little bit gory. I mean, obviously the graphics aren't super sophisticated, so, you know, it's not gonna really gross you out or anything like that or be too intense, but it is cool to be able to have that kind of darker play style, darker themes to a game, so I enjoy that as well. Another aspect that I like with the game too is it's pretty easy to just pick up and play, where again, I do find myself getting addicted and getting sucked into, you know, the game for hours at a time, but you can do it in short little bursts and little playthroughs and just put it down. You know, you could play one little area and, you know, suspend your game, whatever the case might be. Put your Switch on sleep mode, again, if you're playing on the Switch version like I have, and that's pretty cool to be able to do that. Now, again, also a neat thing that it has is there's kind of like a daily challenge dungeon. So it's a little bit harder. You can get points depending on how many monsters you kill, how fast you go. There's different routes you can take. And so that can be a cool online play aspect if you're competing against people, like posting your score, how fast you did it, you know, whatever the case might be. But then that also changes. And then as you beat them multiple times, defeat those daily challenges, you can unlock other aspects, other areas, new high cool items, new blueprints, different things like that as well. And there's also a DLC expansion to this as well. I have not picked that up, so definitely let me know in the comments below if you think I should. I'm sure I probably will, right? Because I like this game so much, but definitely let me know in the comments below if you've played that, if you like that. You know, let me know if you've picked up Dead Cells yet. If you're going to, definitely do that as well. I'll put a link in the description below where you can pick it up too. But then on top of that, you know, one thing that I want to know is, do you know other games like this, right? You know, are there other great Metroidvania, Castlevania-like games that I should be playing? Let me know in the comments below. I love to check those out. It's one of my favorite types of play styles as well. So definitely leave that in the comments below. But again, if you haven't picked up Dead Cells, I highly recommend adding it to your nerd library. You'll have a lot of fun, especially if you like Metroidvania, Castlevania type games as well. But again, hopefully you guys got some benefit and value out of this video. If you did, feel free to comment and share, and then also be sure to subscribe to our channel here as well and turn on those bell notifications to get the latest updates of new videos that we put out here. And then also, if you want to help us, you know, support the channel, help us get out content faster, even help us pick videos and more, definitely consider becoming a patron of ours over at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. Again, that's nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. And then also, if you'd like to tap into our live streams and our Let's Plays, plug into those and follow us over on Twitch, you can do that over at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Twitch. Again, that's nerdproblemsgaming.com/Twitch. You can follow us over there as well. But again, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.